What's up, YouTube? Brett Hoover from Rants here. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. All right, so while Spider-Man No Way Home has just been killing it at the box office in its fourth week out, still number one, still number one. It's been these big flops, big flops. I think Sing 2 did really decent. But the 355 was probably one of the biggest busts of all time when it comes to box office numbers. It is done so poorly that I almost feel bad for it. I almost feel bad for anybody that's a part of it. That it's done so terrible. And now, you know what? You're starting to see a lot of different people now saying, you know what? Maybe it's not just the pandemic. Maybe it's just, I don't know, it just really didn't look that interesting. Now, I actually have seen this movie, The 355. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I understand why audiences that actually went to see it, critics actually hated this movie more than fans did. And I understand why. It was a mediocre spy flick in a lot of instances. There wasn't, I mean, a story that you've heard before. Kind of had these four female spies are going to go out there and kick butt. When it comes to things, a lot of female power and all that other kind of junk like that. I'm not going to say that it was just overly progressive. I didn't really notice it too much. But I mean, there is something to say when you've got like a 115-pound woman taking on a 300-pound guy and she's just slinging him all over the room. There's something about that you have to kind of roll your eyes like probably would never happen. I wish that when it come to female action heroes, I wish that they would start doing it in a more realistic way instead of having the main protagonist sit there and just sling guys around that are like 200 pounds heavier than what she is and stronger than she is, and yet she somehow overpowers them every single time. I wish that they would have it kind of almost kind of like a MacGyver like situation where he outthinks you, or Sherlock Holmes in a way. They outthink you with their mind, and then they use what skills that they have to take you down using other means. That would be something I would watch. That would truly be something I'd watch, something I'd be truly engaged in, fully and totally. But like I said, 355 I didn't feel like was a bad film. I really didn't. I thought it was decent. I just thought it was mediocre in so many different ways. But anyways, let's go ahead and let's get into this article. The 355 bombs at the box office while Spider-Man continues to thrive, and that's concerning. I don't know. I don't know if that is concerning to me. I mean, I think it's really kind of obvious why Spider-Man is succeeding is because Spider-Man is like a love letter to fans in a lot of different ways. It really truly is. It is where you're getting to see everything that you want. I mean, it's a powerful movie, especially towards the end. It had everything that fans wanted: nostalgia, and they did it in a perfect way. Action, they did it in a perfect way. Perfect ending. All of those little things come into play when it comes to Spider-Man No Way Home. Something that, let's say, a Sing 2 or the 355 just don't have. It says January is historically speaking not the greatest month at the box office. However, before the pandemic destroyed everything, studios were starting to turn the month into fertile ground with movies like Bad Boys for Life finding a path. Now, why would that actually be something? Because that's a franchise that people know and people like, and characters that people really enjoy seeing. To becoming hits during a month when there was little else in the way of major competition. Unfortunately, the pandemic has changed things, and we officially have our first big box office bomb of 2022 in the form of the 355. The new female led action flick lost out in a big way to Spider Man No Way Home, which is in its fourth week, just to remind you, which has now topped the charts for 4 weekends in a row. This is bad for just about everyone except Sony and Marvel. It says director. Let's see. It just talks about this movie being delayed. It made 4.8 million domestically. The 355, you heard me right, made 4.8 million domestically. And it says while no firm budget figures are available, the ensemble spy flick is estimated to have cost anywhere between 40 and 75 million. So it's impossible at this point to even make it back. I've even heard things where they said that they might not even make over $5 million just in the next coming days. Like that's pretty bad. Um, when we consider the likes of Jessica Chastain and Lupita Nyong'o are in the cast alongside Diana Kruger, Penelope Cruz, and Sebastian Stan, that number is all the more depressing. It had star power. It had a modest enough budget. It was a big, globetrotting action flick. Audience simply didn't care. They didn't care because we've seen it before. We've seen it before, and like I said, when you've got, just automatically, if you're a fan and you see these four, female spies, you just automatically think to yourself, this is done for some kind of identity politics. Like you don't think that it just naturally came about. You think it's identity politics. It's like killing James Bond. That's pretty clear what that was all about. Killing James Bond was to make him move over for probably a female to take over that role. I mean, I think that's about as clear to fans, and fans didn't take too kindly to it. It says it's certainly worth pointing out that the movie has a lowly 25% critical approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which doesn't really matter. But the audience rating is at a very solid 83%, which I think it should be. And as we've seen with movies like Venom, Let There Be Carnage, that audience rating is seemingly what matters most. And I love Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and a lot of people absolutely hated that, but I thought that was a pretty good flick. So what went wrong? It's a little tough to say, but it's worth nothing or noting that the big action flicks like this, divorce from major franchises, have increasingly been going straight to Netflix. Now another thing is hey, I kind of feel like there's something that contradicted that, which has been a bust as well. Not nearly as bad, but The Kingsman. I enjoyed that film. I thought that was a really fun film. I didn't think it was as good as the previous two, but I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed the time period. I enjoyed the action that come about with it. I thought it was awesome. There was some really sad moments in it. Um, but it's a part of a successful franchise, and look what it did. Not very well. So I don't know if I necessarily buy that as well. Universal Pictures may have been fighting the we expect this from the comfort of home issue that so many movies are facing these days. Well, Spider-Man No Way Home sure as heck getting facing that. So I mean, how do you come out and say we expect from the comfort of home issue when Spider-Man is breaking records? People are going to see it in theaters. No one's like, you know what? I'm gonna wait until Spider-Man No Way Home comes out on out on I don't know, Disney Plus. They're not doing that for that. So this whole circular thinking, they're never really getting to the real point of it, the real meat of what they really need to be thinking about. It says, interestingly enough, Netflix's Red Notice, which did exceedingly well for the streaming service as an ensemble action spy thriller, was originally set up at Universal before it found a new home. Unfortunately, it's getting increasingly hard for movies like this, even with a stacked cast and moviegoer friendly premise, to break out. It is going to be awfully tough to create new franchises in the theatrical marketplace. That much is certain. Okay, another thing that Hollywood is still trying to do, they're trying to, put all of these famous people into a flick and being like, we have all these people here, all these names that you recognize. Go see our movie. And people are like, no, we're not going to go see that movie. Why would we go see that movie just because it's somebody that I liked in another movie was in it? I liked him in another movie. I might have hated him in another movie. So I mean, that doesn't fly with fans anymore like it used to, like in the 1950s. Um, But anyways, and it just goes on to this article just goes on to state, Spider-Man has made $668.7 million, 10 million behind Avengers Infinity War, which it will pass any day now. So everything that they have told in this article, people just are waiting for it to come out, on like Netflix. That's a bogus argument because 668.7 million for Spider-Man No Way Home should be proof of that. Because you can darn well bet that's going to be coming out on Disney Plus pretty soon. I mean, they're going to make as much money off that as possible. So that's a failed concept. The whole star-studded cast thing, failed concept. There is so many reasons why these movies fail, and one is because you put four women in the role, and people just automatically, because they're going to think identity politics, whether it is or isn't, they're going to put that in there, and they're going to be like, I don't really want to even get involved in this. They also check out the things on YouTube as well, in Rotten Tomatoes and critic scores and all of these other little things like that. That is why these movies are failing, simply because they're not there. It's like Hollywood has ran out of good ideas. This was just generic. This wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a movie that you're gonna go tell your friends to go watch. It was just like every other, I don't know, every other action flick. Like, it didn't feel any different to me. I would have said this if they would even had four guys in this role. Like, that part didn't even matter to me. Um, what mattered to me was I've seen the plot before. It seemed like I've seen every one of these characters before. Like I said, whether they're male or female, playing these specific parts and these specific roles, and it didn't fit too well with me. It didn't intrigue me. I was bored halfway through it. But anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think down below. Do you think the media will ever quite comprehend why these movies are failing? Do you think they'll ever stop making excuses, whether it be the pandemic or whether it be, people are wanting to watch it on streaming services? Do you think that they'll have to come to terms that, hey, maybe we just didn't tell a good story? Maybe we've kind of pushed identity politics a little too much over the years, and now people are kind of getting tired of it. Maybe we shouldn't listen to the Twitterverse. Maybe we should listen to the fans that are actually going to go see the movie. Maybe. But hey, I'm just a fan out here. I'm just not trying to tell you how to do your business, every Hollywood studio out there, but I'm just saying I don't care about identity politics. I don't care about substandard plots. I want something new, something I haven't seen before a million times. But anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think down below. And as always, thanks for watching. Y'all take care.